Welcome to episode 18 of Experiments in Poetry. This is your host, Wendy. Today we will be discussing the Whitechapel song, When a Demon Defiles a Witch. We are continuing our Halloween theme for October, and as such, I have created a little memoji with a costume, which I will post over somewhere. So even though I'm not dressed up here, I have decided to dress up a little character. So here you go. I am a little demon. Whitechapel is an American deathcore metal band, and it is a favorite of a friend of the channel's. I have never listened to Whitechapel before. As I've said previously in another video, I don't usually listen to the metal genre. However, in preparation for this video, this was the first time that I sat down and listened to a few songs from Whitechapel, and I thought that it would fit perfectly into our Halloween theme in October with scary videos. This is my first time listening to deathcore metal. I chose a few different songs from Whitechapel to look at. I was quite shocked when I heard the vocals of Phil Bozeman, who is the lead singer of Whitechapel, and I think he also is the main lyricist for the band. And it was just something that I have never heard that type of sounds coming from a person before. It kind of sounds like at times like a possessed soul or something like this. The themes of the songs that I had listened to also were quite dark, as one probably would expect just by hearing the name deathcore or the genre deathcore. A lot of occult, a lot of death, murder, sometimes even rape. And the first song I listened to was Blood Soaked Symphony. I also listened to Prostatic Fluid Asphyxiation, and then the song that I will be covering today, which is When a Demon Defiles a Witch off of the Valley album. The theme of some of the songs are very dark and occult-ish, but that shouldn't be really surprising. When I looked at the lyrics, like let's say of Prostatic Fluid Asphyxiation, which basically was about the violent rape and murder of a woman. I don't know. I mean, there are other songs that cover the topic of violence and murder, but with the aggression of the music and the screams and growls of the singer, it just was kind of like a horror movie. It was really scary. I've never, even though I've heard songs talking about death, this song actually was really scary. And but it wasn't surprising that they wrote a song like that, because when I looked into what the meaning of Whitechapel was, with the name Whitechapel, from the area in London in which Jack the Ripper in the 1800s raped and murdered several prostitutes in a particularly violent way that shocked the world and still kind of captures the still kind of captures the imagination of people today. And it's kind of still a mystery of who exactly Jack the Ripper was. But, of course, if you didn't know, Jack the Ripper was a famous serial murderer in the 1800s, maybe one of the first that became famous around the world. And his crimes were particularly brutal. So when I heard the song Prostatic Fluid Asphyxiation, it kind of reminded me of a Jack the Ripper murder. Instead, I chose the topic of When a Demon Defiles a Witch. And this song is no less terrifying, but it is about a demon that comes and torments a woman at night and most likely is probably raping her and causing her to do self-harm, possibly possessing her as well. So, song. Please watch the lyric video that I made for When a Demon Defiles a Witch. I will place the link in the description below. So as I said a little bit earlier, the lead vocalist, Phil Bozeman, I believe, wrote the song. On the song is Ben Savage as the lead guitarist. And Alex Wade and Zach Householder also play guitar, as well as Gabe Crisp on bass. And I believe in this particular song, Ernie Nigres, I can't really pronounce it. Ernie, I'm so sorry. This song was released in 2019 on the Valley album, and it features really horrifying storyline. And let's get into the first verse. So in the first verse, the first verse is, they appear. I remember when the fire was security. Now it's killing me. A wolf can't hunt without its prey. So take me to my grave. The demons dance by the fireside, but tonight they migrate to my bedside. So the story behind the lyrics of this video is that Phil Bozeman's father died when he was quite young, and his mother suffered from mental illness, and she kept diaries of the things that she would see and hear, and she was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder. And so I guess when Phil Bozeman got older, he read the diaries of his mother, and obviously what she said in those diaries really had an effect on him and stayed with him. And so we get these lyrics today. And so in her visions that she would have, she would see demons by the fireside, and she imagined that they were like hunting and stalking her, and that if she saw them at night by the fireside, then she knew that later on that night they would come to her bedside where they would defile her or, rape her. That these demons took the form of her late husband, but kind of like in a maybe like a zombie demon-esque. It wasn't like a healthy version of her husband. It was something clearly that was other or possessed or of demons. So it was particularly horrifying because it's probably something that she was dealing with, the loss of her husband, and trying to mentally handle that, as well as the other issues that she might have been having. So when you combine them together, she basically dreamed every night that her, dead husband's body kind of was possessed by a demonic spirit and would come and rape her at night. So the chorus of the song is, burn the bed, burn everything. It's a lie anyway. There's nowhere left to run. There's nowhere left for me to be without you by my side. I don't know, the chorus just, it's just really haunting, really disturbing. I don't know if burn the bed, burn everything is kind of like her waking up in the morning and thinking like ew, or feeling kind of gross and defiled where she just kind of wants to burn it all to the ground. And it's a lie anyway, is kind of being like, she knows that she has visions, and that she's not quite certain of what really is happening or what has happened. That can be one interpretation. Another interpretation can be just like when these things are happening to her, she feels like everything is burning. And then, of course, there's nowhere left to run. There's nowhere left for me to be without you by my side. And that's kind of like there's no escape from what is happening to her. She doesn't know how to make the visions go away, or make the demons stop coming to her at night. And she feels that they are always by her side, or her demons are always with her. So for the second verse, I cry, but if you take a closer look, you'll see it's a demon's eye. There's no coming back for me, for my spirit guide is trapped inside my brain. I don't know who I am. In the name of the Father and the Holy Ghost, close your gates, lock the door. There is no hope. So basically her situation is quite dire, and she feels like, there's no saving her soul or her spirit, and she's just kind of lost to these forces that invade her at night. And she's kind of saying, that she's just completely lost, like her spirit guide is lost in her brain. And it's kind of like her true self, or what can bring her to a enlightenment, is kind of locked away inside of her. And she cannot, she's reconciling with the fact that she will never have that. She will never have that peace. She will never have that happiness. And she's in a state of a complete lack of hope, of even comprehending who she is at any given moment. So then it repeats the course: burn the bed, burn everything. It's a lie anyway. There's nowhere left to run. There's nowhere left for me to be without you by my side. And then it adds on, how could the world take you away from me? They all deserve to burn with me. This is coming from his mom feelings of her saying, the demons took her, the demons took her away from her, and they all deserve to burn. But also another interpretation, and it doesn't have to be but, it can also be like an and situation. It's more powerful, I think, when they have like multiple layers of meaning, and one line can be taken 8 different ways and 8 different things to be that succinct and powerful in a lyric. Is cool. And so I also, when I read this line, because he lost both his father at a young age, and maybe lost his mother at even a younger age, because of her multiple personalities. And some, when they look at, some who believe in the occult, when they think of multiple personalities, they might also think of like multiple souls or spirits living within the same physical body. She's saying, how could you away from me? Part of me wonders if that's also him talking to Singer about the loss of both of his. And they all deserve to burn with me, meaning like all those demons, deserve to be burning, as well as him, with the loss of his family. His mom's point of view in those diaries is the next line in the bridge, sung in a much different manner. The rest of the song, or at some points even screaming way, where the next lines are sang in a very soft and sweet tone that I just cannot believe comes from the same mouth. It's quite extraordinary, the range of vocalizations that he can make. So the next lines are, what has the world come to when a demon defiles a witch? Nobody trusts a word I say. I can't erase these memories, but I will erase humanity. Erase humanity. At the words of a song, there's many different interpretations you can have. And I just find it fun to discuss that. One interpretation that I would like to take here is, again, and someone can have a totally different point of view, and that's fine. I would like to hear it. You can leave it in the comments below, or you can email me at wendy@explorewithtree.com. But I'm going to go ahead with the sense that, you know, add the additional lines to that course were a very personal note coming from Phil Bozeman about the loss and he had and how he is thinking those demons deserve to be burning. And then when you come to the bridge, he's kind of like, what does the world come to when, such a woman is defiled? And, he's calling her witch, but not everybody thinks of a witch as a bad, could be just someone who's sensitive to picking up, paranormal vibrations, right? Which makes her sensitive to possession, or one can hearing voices, hallucinations, and these mental issues of having multiple manifestations of personalities within her. I mean, that's medically what somebody would call it. And then if you are interested in the cult, then you would think about it more possessions. And then it's saying, nobody trusts a word I say, because I think the story is quite unbelievable. Even if a person is feeling these things and saying, hey, at night I see blah, 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 or I have witnessed my mom like this, or at night a demon comes and does this. It is kind of like, yeah, people would be like, what? Like, they wouldn't really believe your story and probably would just dismiss you as crazy or hallucinating. And even if you were telling somebody like, hey, my mom used to see this, this, and this, and she acted like that, that, and that, then maybe some people would be like, well, that can't be real. That can't have really happened. So these memories is the next line. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure both he and his mother have tried to get these memories washed from this when you have seen certain things and experienced certain things, whether or not it's just a comment on how your soul is changed forever, and maybe you think that some part of your humanity is lost forever. And I think so. I mean, in the previous verse, he did state, in the name of the Father and the Holy Ghost, close your gates, lock the door, there is no hope. So I think that just fits back in with the theme that, whatever damage or whatever they have been through, that they don't feel like they can be saved or there's any redemption from it. It's a feeling of hopelessness in the situation. And then finally, it repeats the whole verse of the whole course. So in finale, to finish, I think that it is, a really scary story. And it's not only a story, it's kind of something that somebody had lived through. Both his mother had lived through the anguish of feeling like she was possessed by multiple spirits and tormented at night. And then also young Phil Bozeman had to kind of like experience her go through that, and then reading her writings about what it was that it felt like when these things were happening to her. With that said, I hope that writing these lyrics and expressing himself through music is helping him cope with his experiences. And I think it does. I think writing and music therapy is pretty amazing and helpful. And I got quite a scare from listening to the song. I don't know why. I mean, I just feel like I don't know, maybe it was because like when I was younger, I was raised Catholic, and I grew up watching like Freddy Krueger and Friday the 13th, and it just seemed like stuff like that didn't really scare me so much. Like yeah, some guy's gonna rise from the lake or haunt my dreams at night. But for some reason, when I hear about, the spirits and demons and, I'm like, no, Satan, not tonight, right? Like, stay away. Like, it just scares the shit out of me, really. And it's so funny. So movies like The Exorcist or The Conjuring, stuff like that, I actually find way more terrifying than I do kind of like slasher flicks. But that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what kind of scares you more. I mean, do you get more scared by the kind of like slasher killer that just can't seem to die, seems to be invincible? Or are you more terrified by the occultish type of themed horror movies? And I'm really glad that I got a chance to listen to Whitechapel. I don't think I would have come across it on my own. And like I said, I just felt like if a horror movie was condensed into 3 minutes, and yeah, it was like if you took a whole entire horror film and just put it into a 3 minute or 4 minute segment. It's what it kind of reminded me of. It was very strong. So I really hope I was able to give you a thrill this pre-Halloween episode. Go out and get your tricks and treats and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next week. Thank you.